tidal. Lift up that sand to flow, transported northwards by stealthy wayward currents, taut bands flexing, swilling dune lakes washing to unknown shores, deposited by the sparring tides and reforming on the open Āwhitu Peninsula. I generally call myself a poet, a papermaker and an editor. I have also written prose, but my main area of writing is definitely poetry. I'm writing a piece of poetry one a week, and I will create a piece of paper for every week. And then I intend to bind together into a small book, hand-bound. I'll have the poems letterpress printed onto my handmade paper, and they will form a collection of my weeks. One of the things I love, and that made me particularly keen to work with the rushes, and it has given me inspiration for my poetry as well, is the movement of them. And you can see the shapes that are indented into the rushes and how much they move. And you can see it throughout the wetland, this side as well, just this little edge, but some of them are massive undulations, and it's so beautiful, so poetic. That really drew me to the rushes. This is a wetlands area that I've come to every day with my family and alone to write, and it is so isolated, and the growth is so verdant and at the whim of just nature, no sort of human intervention, that it feels wild and alive. And that's always something that inspires me with my writing, to start from that place of wildness. I do stick to a routine. So I always write every day, and I do tend to start quite early in the morning, and the morning is generally my best time for writing. That's when my ideas flow best for me. So I tend to get out in the morning, and then I think just observe. I don't write a whole lot, if anything. I just like to be present and notice what's growing, what things look like, have a visual sense of where I've walked, and then I return and will write for a period and then stop and then return to it. Sometimes you need to walk away, have a break, walk back to it. I think the one thing that I did try to balance with the poetry was not just sort of pastoral appreciation, but I did try to use it as somewhat a vehicle to open people's minds to the plight of the wetlands, and that they are very special places and why they are so significant ecological systems and that they are at risk of dying out completely, and that they are spaces that we need to nurture. So what I would like to do is collect the rushes and the pahuihui from the wetland area with a ranger and use that to make my sheets of internal paper for the poems to sit on. I like that the rushes regenerated themselves, that they grew up without needing planting, that that's a natural process that our wetlands will undergo if we allow them to regenerate. So it, to me, was a symbol of strength and flexibility and growth and life and regeneration. So that was really at the heart of both my poetry and paper making in terms of my plant material inspiration. So I have visited Āwhitu a number of times prior to the residency with my family, but it felt by the end of the residency like what I had known of Āwhitu was a tiny speck, and now I knew the full landscape. I didn't know it at all. I realised it allows you to understand that you're never going to know a landscape, that it's its own special place, and that having been to a place once or twice, there's always more to know and to explore and to discover, and things that have changed. And it gave me a very small glimpse into what it might be like to live in the rhythm of a landscape so intimately, but that landscape is an environment is not something that we ever have control over or can know completely, and that's wonderful. It's been a treasure, really. You wake up thinking you can't quite believe that you're here and that you can just walk out and be among it. It was like sharpening a pencil almost. It honed my senses, and it honed my thoughts, and it allowed me to focus in such minute detail on something that has been a preoccupation for a long time. And it gave me the time and the space and the mental space, not just the physical space, to indulge and engage in coming to grips with writing about the wetlands. It was a gift to have that. And life out there was poetry. The depths of Āwhitu. The twitching rushes seem to sit patiently on the surface of the rank spring sediment-filled water, emitting sibilant, moving sounds that mollify the senses, betray the patterns of the labyrinthine depths below.